We'll try, we'll try and gamify the introductions as well. Let's stick to the theme, right? So, for the introductions, what we will do is we'll tell our name, we'll do some action that everyone has to repeat, everyone has to follow, and then we'll also tell name of a favorite bird if you have one, or if you don't have a specific favorite bird, then you can tell your favorite animal. And that's what we are going to do for our introductions. Let me get started. So, I'm Amrita, and this is my action. Can everyone follow? And my favorite bird is an owl. I think I relate a lot to an owl because I enjoy being awake throughout the night. So I think that's where my liking for owls come from. So who wants to go next? Chaitanya, maybe. Yeah. What we can do is we can the next once you've done introduction, you can maybe pick a person from the audience to introduce.
So, hi, I'm Chaitanya.
Hey.
Hi. Um, and my favorite bird is black-winged stilt. Yeah, I just love its body shape and
Oh,
the
lovely.
beak. Yeah, that's all. And my favorite animal, right? I do not have any specific regarding animals, but when it comes to birding, I do love black-winged stilt.
Yeah, lovely. Yeah, you while introducing, you can choose either a favorite bird or an animal, however. It doesn't have to be both, so it's okay.
Mhm.
Do you want to nominate the next person to introduce?
Yeah, Ashok Kumar garu.
Do
Thank you, Chaitanya. Hi,
Yeah.
everyone. I'm Ashok. As a professional, I am software engineer, but I'm a birder who interact a lot with the communities, like NGOs, going to the farmers, students, and all. So it's the first time interacting with the early bird group, and my favorite bird is coppersmith barbet because of the sound it makes in the morning. I
oh,
like it a lot because it's the easy thing to make understand people how the name has come with the coppersmith bird. It's with every
yes,
bird, but this is more comparable. What I felt.
yeah. What you said is kind of something that we will be kind of touching upon later in the session. So that's a good thing to know that we all are on similar lines when it comes to our engagements. So lovely.
Yeah. Thank
Oh,
you, Anuja.
Anuja, would you introduce yourself?
Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm Anuja. And oh, uh, yeah. So I'm Anuja. I'm from Chennai, and I work with the Center for Environment Education as an educator. And yeah. Okay. So some action. Yeah. So this is my action, just to get the ball rolling, and yeah. And then favorite bird is spot-billed pelican because I used to see a lot of them in the lake in front of my house. Now I don't see them at all. In the last 3 years, they've stopped coming for some reason. But when they came, it was coincidentally the time of lockdown and the time where I had to do my undergrad research project. So they were my subjects, research subjects.
Oh,
Yeah,
lovely.
I studied them. That was the first time I got into the world of birding. So I just observed them flying slowly, and at times they don't even flap their wings. I don't know how they're still up in the air. They're so big. They're just flying. So yeah, you just observe these pelicans next time and they fly, and it just puts you into ease, some weird sort of calm. Yes, that is my favorite bird.
Yeah, that's really nice, Anuja. Do you want to nominate the next person for introducing themselves?
Yes, Jyoti.
Okay, hi, good morning everyone. My name is Jyoti and I am a nature educator, currently working in Eastern India geography, Jharkhand, Odisha, and West Bengal. So I generally work with the tribal students regarding the context based education, and my action is like this. And my favorite, not favorite bird, I would say my first bird sighting in Chhattisgarh is when I came into birding, which is Indian pitta. And I
Oh,
saw Indian pitta, like lots of Indian pitta, like 10, 15 Indian pittas during my school visit. And I saw that bird, and I mean, that was my good memory of first bird sighting. Like knowing the name and relating the bird colors. Yeah.
yeah, lovely. You can,
Next is Chandana.
Chandana, would you want to introduce yourself, please?
Hi, my name is Chandana. I'm traveling. I'm not sure if I'm audible. I hope the network is okay.
Yeah, you are audible.
Okay. I want to be a nature educator someday. I have a commerce background and I am learning right now. And I don't have a favorite bird yet, but I can name a bird that I saw in the morning today. Bulbul.
Oh, wow. That's lovely. Bulbuls have a really nice whistling sound, so quite pleasant.
Uh, I
Uh,
still haven't. I don't know how to recognize the sounds, but I'm observing the birds for now. Yeah.
oh, that's I think the first step into it is just trying to observe them, and then eventually you will figure out their names. That I think
Okay.
that's the best way to go about it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Do you want to pick the next person for introduction?
Yes. Dr. Arunavadat.
Hi everyone, good afternoon. My name is Arunava. I'm a nature educator and an IB educator as well. I've been teaching environmental systems and societies. I'm not an avid birder, but I do follow birding. And my favorite bird would be the great Indian bastard and also the hornbill. And my sign is this.
Thank you, and we hope that there's a lot of fun that we have during this session, and this introduction is also something that everyone's kind of enjoying.
I might
Would you
be
like
going
to?
off for a moment because I'm having a class in another
Okay,
few minutes. So I'm
okay,
very sorry for that if I'm not able to attend the entire session.
no worries. But we're glad that you could make it for some time. Do you want? Would you like to pick the next person for introductions?
Yes, ma'am. It's Mr. Chandrasekhar Bode.
Chandrasekhar, would you please introduce yourself?
Thank you, sir. Hello, I'm Chandrasekhar Borde. I'm from Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar, Maharashtra, and I'm Deputy Commissioner of State GST. I've been doing bird photography, or rather wildlife photography, for past 10 years. Recently, my 11-year-old son has joined me, and he's also doing quite exceptional bird photography for past 1 year. I have been conducting heritage walk in and around my city, given the historical importance of that city, because it has a rich history of almost more than 1,000 years. So I'm focusing more on wildlife and nature education. So I have also enrolled myself for nature educator course by Ecological Society of Pune.
Hmm.
So I've been
Yeah,
doing that, and I came across your website and this message. So I joined this session today. Thank you.
that's lovely. It's how I think we are here to get kids connected to nature, but here we have someone who like getting into nature education because of their child being interested. Would you like to pick the next person for introduction?
Uh, Kayala Ashok Kumar, has he done it?
Yes, he has.
Okay, then Lalita Ashtekar ma'am. Who
Hello
else is it?
everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hello everyone. I am Lalita. I am a nature educator currently doing my fellowship with Bhumi College as a Teach for Nature fellow. And my sign would be this. And my favorite bird is I was just in the balcony some time ago, and I was watching red-vented bulbuls coming into the balcony and just chirping around. So just relating to it now, and we are looking forward to learning and gaining some insights for the games which I look forward to take with the kids. So thank you
Yes,
for the session.
we also look forward, and we'll also, if some of you are educators already, so if you have some games that you know of, we'll love to uh, learn more games and take them forward to more educators eventually. So, yeah, would you like to pick someone to introduce? We can just
Uh,
go around it quickly.
Kanika.
Yes, hello. Hi,
Hi,
I am
Kanika.
Kanika. I'm an IT professional, but I've always been fascinated with birds since my childhood. A few years back, I did a basic course in ornithology from ELA Society, and I am also planning to do some more courses from Ecological Society of Pune. I'm basically from Pune. My favorite bird is the Tickle's blue flycatcher, mainly because I'm a window birder, and that is one sound that filters through my window mostly every morning. I'm lucky to live in a green pocket here in Pune. Yeah, that's all about me.
Lovely. Thanks, Kanika. Can you just nominate the next person?
Yeah. Okay, looking through. Uh, Mr. or Miss Ramakrishnan.
Ramakrishnan, are you there? Would you like to introduce yourself? If not, is there someone who would like to volunteer and introduce yourselves? We can. Yes, Asif, would you want to go ahead?
Yeah, hi. This is Asif. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
And my video?
Yes.
No. So I'm from Hyderabad and I've been birding since 2006. So my birding went into a passion for photography. So I'm an amateur photographer and I also work as a teacher librarian in a school.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, so I have been doing a lot of activities with students and also introduced bird watching as a hobby. So a session I took for grade 6, 7th, and 8th. So how birds connect are useful to us. We are dependent on birds. So an early bird also had a long relation because for school I had requested for posters and I put it up in all the 3 branches. So the students got curious to know about the birds. So
Lovely.
yeah, so my favorite bird is bar-headed geese. So I mean,
Wow.
yes, so I mean, I'm fascinated by the way it flows all over the flew all over the Himalayas, and with the low oxygen levels. It's something which is amazing.
Quite an amazing feat that they achieve.
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Ramya, Ramyashri, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes. Hello. Hi, everyone. So this is Ramya Shri from Chennai, and I see Anuja, so I know her, and but others I don't know. Okay, so I am Ramya Shri, and I'm from Chennai, and I am doing my PhD. So I my work generally focuses on shorebirds, so ecology of shorebirds. So
Wow.
my birding starts since 2013. So since my undergraduation, I started to bird watch, and my favorite bird is Indian paradise flycatcher. So actually, in 2016, we had a back-to-back cyclones. So on that time, I saw a bird which is very small and which has a ribbon-like tail. So I was wondering what kind of bird is this? So literally the name says the paradise flycatcher. So it comes from a paradise, I guess. So very amazing to watch that bird. So there my passion has gone to an extreme level. So I started I mean not an regular birder. So I started bird watching. So that's the favorite bird, and my sign is like wavy. So how the paradise flycatcher flies.
Lovely.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Uh, Anyone else would like to, since I'm not seeing other videos on, I'm not calling the names out, but if you feel comfortable to introduce yourself, please go ahead. We'll take another minute for that, or else we'll move ahead. Would anyone like to? Okay. I just hope the other people who are in the meeting we have a lot more interaction eventually when we get started. So, I think the idea of doing this kind of an introduction was to just tap into some of the amazing emotions that come out of us just being interested about nature or birds, and kind of tapping into that when we think about taking this forward to children, and kind of bringing out the similar kind of emotions. Do you want, does anyone kind of think of, I think I can pick out a few, like there was curiosity, there is kind of the inquisitiveness, there is some bit of passion and liking towards these creatures. Anything else that you thought came out through these introductions and us talking about our favorite birds?
Appreciation.
There's appreciation, yes. And there's also relatability, like, oh, I feel like I am like this bird, or I can relate to this bird, or the familiarity of seeing some bird in your backyard, seeing it often, and kind of then being in a space of wanting to know more about it. So these are some things that we do want to kind of anchor for when we are talking about engaging with children. And what's a better way to do it if you can have fun with it? While if learning can be fun, then there's like it doesn't remain learning, just you just enjoying, but then you eventually realize that you do have some facts or some information retained at the end of it. So Shruti, can you please share the screen? So does everyone agree to this statement? Learning can be fun with games. Yeah.
Yes.
So I have a question for you all. Can you Shruti, the next? And feel free to unmute and answer, or you can type in the chat box as well. Okay. Shruti, yes. So, what is your earliest memory of play? It can be a game, it can be a playful moment, it can be any form of play. What's your earliest memory of a play? Of play? You can type it in the chat box, you can unmute yourself and speak. Is there any, oh, we have someone saying cricket. Yes. It can be a game, it can be an interaction that feels very playful.
Okay, I will share.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, so it is like recent memories in August month, 3 months ago. So I did game workshop in Kerala. So yeah, we played a lot of games for 8 days, and these games are for like game for impact. So some serious games, some board games, and some outdoor games. So yeah, recent memory is that only.
Oh, lovely. And your earliest memory from your childhood?
And yeah, childhood memory is like games in the schools, like uh, ground games, kabaddi and kho and
Oh, lovely. Okay. We have some responses in the chat as well. There is cycling, there is blowing bubbles of detergent water. Uh, that's fun. Even I kind of now want to do it after this session, now that I have heard it. But yeah, playing with friends in the evening and playing in mud and spotting some sociable birds. Wow, that's an interesting aim. Hide and seek. Lovely. So I have, now that we have shared some memory of play from our childhood, I have a next question for you. Think of an important takeaway or learning that you got from a game. Like any game that you can think of, especially if it's from your childhood. What is one key takeaway or kind of the emotions that come with it, or a learning that you can think of that's associated to a certain game? Then we've talked about there are different memories that we have shared already. Okay, being there for a time. Okay, the joy of it. Yes,
lot of fun.
fun, definitely. Punctual focus and happiness. Lovely three words that kind of summarize quite a lot what others have mentioned. It motivates. Yes. Okay. We have can create our own fun. Yes. It's, I think, with anything of this sort, um, fun is quite personal, and from how we look at it, it's quite from a very specific perspective. If you find something fun, it is fun. So while playing Kho, I had to give my best as a fast chaser, not during the game, but I feel happy whenever yeah, that's real. It is, there's emotions of happiness, there's emotions of joy, there is motivation that's there. There's a lot of skills kind of that have been mentioned, balancing, enjoying, freedom. So, yeah, Shruti, the next slide, please. So, games can be engaging. They can be internally motivating. They can be social. Like someone talked about playing with friends in the evening, and that's kind of building some social skills. They can be versatile. You may or may not need any materials. You may or may not need to be in a specific space. You can play certain games indoors and outdoors as well. Like something like as basic as hide and seek. As a kid, remember you do play it outdoors, but even inside a house with the house full of cousins, you can play it. So, or there are games that are very adaptable based on situations, based on what resources you have available. You can have a small kind of the game or a very elaborate version of it, and it's so versatile. And then it is also pleasurable. It gives us joy, happiness, and kind of feel good kind of a feeling that we are left behind with. So there's this one saying that says play is our brain's favorite way of learning. And I think most of us do agree with that. If we can learn while we can play, what what better way it could be? So yeah, and I think while in the beginning of the session as well, I was saying how we want to tap into the emotions. It's just stating facts or stating like this is what you should do, or this is how it is, or just facts about birds or nature can feel very boring, can feel like, okay, it's just something, it doesn't feel exciting enough. But when there are emotions involved, when there is an excitement, curiosity that comes from within, you do feel motivated to learn more. You feel like the brain retains that information more because you want to learn through it. And if it's engaging, then uh, you do have an impact that is left behind at the end of that session. So, Shruti, the next. So let's talk about some games. But before that, before I give you some examples, are there certain games that come to your mind which might not be, which are directly bird related games, bird themed games, or nature themed games, or games that you think are probably not directly related, but you can build a relation around nature? Can you think of certain games, or it can be any random game that you can think of that is relevant to this theme of the session that we are talking today? Do you want to list down some games that you play or you know of?
Can I share?
Yes, please go ahead, Shalini.
There is a game called Web of Life, which we had played, where we see the interconnection between, how each one of us, including human beings, is related to nature. So,
Yes, so it's a game called the Web of Life is kind of emulates the food web and the food chain that's there and kind of helps to understand the interdependencies around it. Yes, any other games? Who says 10 bird names fast? Yeah, I think as kids, we've played so much of this. Dub Smash, what's that? Would you like to explain that,
Yeah.
Ashok Kumar?
So, Amrita, so it's something like how we name the movies without mentioning it by signs. So
Okay.
in the same way, we can help the kids based on the body structures of the birds.
Yes. Okay. Lovely. That's quite interesting. And I think Chaitanya has also given a very similar kind of a game, giving hints on bird morphological characteristics and then identifying the name. Yeah, that sounds interesting. Asif says he's done word searches. Oh, that's one of my favorite things to do. I really love word searches and making them as well. A game you can play without any supplies. Name a bird starting with the last letter. Yes, like we play Atlas with cities or country names. You can do that with bird names as well. And we have like an in that way it can go on and on because there's so many bird species. Playing bird calls and identifying them. Lovely. Scavenger hunt. Wow, that would be fun. So yeah, we do know of quite a lot of games, some traditional games that we can modify to be being bird themed, and some games that are innately like or they are already bird or nature themed games. So, have you all played bingo? The where you have to strike off certain numbers in a grid and then try and make like get all in a row or in a column. Does everyone know that? Shruti, can you change to the next slide?
Yes, we have
Sorry?
played the game.
Yes.
The number bingo.
Shruti, can you move to the next slide, please? Yeah. So here on the screen, you will see a bird. It's a more kind of inspired from the number bingo that is around, and it's called a bird bingo. Here, basically, if you see the grids, they don't mention the bird names, but they mention something that you need to observe in a bird. It talks about its color, it talks about having long feet, or being a certain kind of sitting in a certain place. And that's kind of the things that, yes, identifying birds through characteristics in through calls can be fun. But what if the audience doesn't know bird names? Then wouldn't that be a little underwhelming for them? Or wouldn't they be left with a kind of a feeling that they don't know birds enough? And that can be deterring, right? So, in a case where your audience doesn't know about birds, how do you introduce them to birds? You make them observe the different characters that these birds have, be it appearance, be it behavior. Is it eating? Is it sitting somewhere? Is it a certain color? Does it have a long tail? Does it have long beak? Is it stubby? Is it tall? Kind of in how it stands. So these are some things that you don't need to know birds, or you need not know bird names, but yet you can uh, connect to them, yet you can observe them. And eventually you can learn the names. You can, as educators, tell them the names of certain birds that you've seen around. But at the get-go, given that they don't know birds, it's nice to emphasize more on what they are seeing, what they're hearing, than what the birds called. Imagine if you are new to birds and if I come and tell you, okay, this is a sparrow, this is this is the characteristics, and done. Would you feel like you've known enough about that bird, or would you feel connected to that bird, or would you have more questions? Would you kind of make observations to ask more questions? It would just feel like, okay, I now have all the information, so I don't have to think much about it. But then bringing in that sense of inquiry, bringing in the sense of questioning in your audience, especially when it's children, it's so important Because the more questions they are asking, it means that they're observing something, they're looking at something. And once they have that, and the questions can be sometimes so arbitrary, and you might not have an answer to that, but that's okay. But just the sense that they are feeling curious enough to ask questions is kind of a win-win for us as educators who are trying to get them to look at birds or engage with nature. And so this is a bird variant of it, but there are variants which talk about hidden housemates, it's called, like just looking at different things that are there inside our houses. It was something it was created during the pandemic, so because we couldn't go out, so just let's observe nature that's inside. So so we'll share links of that with you later on. The next one of my favorite games to create and make people play is Pictobirds. It's almost like Pictionary, where you have icons and you have to guess the bird, guess the either a movie or a place, whatever we would generally play it around with, but a bird version of that. So, do you know what bird this is?
Nightjar.
Yes, it's a nightjar. So this can be like games like these where you have to hear the sometimes the birds can be very obvious. Now, nightjar, people might not know like a bird of that name exists, but it can also be just very obvious from the icons that okay, it can, what else can this be? It can be a star jar, moon jar, or a night jar. There are only few options that are there in this, and night jar seems like the best fit for this one. So Shruti, can you go to the next slide? So something like these kind of games can be like a good conversation starter. And then you people guess the name, the kids guess the bird name, and the next thing can be you can give in some more information. You can show them what that bird looks like, given that nightjar would be a I don't know if a lot of kids would know that unless they're already into watching birds. And you can get them to you can make them hear the calls of the bird as well, like for this Indian nightjar. Tell me, what does this bird sound like? If you hearing this bird call, does it remind you of some other sound that you might have heard?
A frog?
A frog, okay.
Yeah, same frog.
A creaky door, okay, interesting.
Uh, Kingfisher or woodpecker sometimes.
Okay, kingfisher and a woodpecker. A bulbul, okay. um Often this is, I think, also somewhere I had heard where this call was described as, and it's one of my favorite ways in which this call has been described. I kind of really like how it was put into words. It said that it sounds like a stone it's like a skipping stone on a frozen lake. Like we throw stones on water where it kind of bounces over the water surface. Imagine doing that, but on a frozen lake. So there's this squeaky sound, there's like a bounce tap kind of a sound. So all of this, I just love how that kind of I can relate that. So everyone can have a different way of remembering. See, think of it that way. I just can't unsee that visual of the sound being a certain way. So bringing in such interesting things, something that I think also you can pull from your own excitement, your own experiences, where if you feeling excited enough about something, that is going to transcend into kids. So guess the next one.
Bulbul.
Bulbul.
Yes, it is a bulbul. So you can actually choose to talk about different things for different species. Here, I really like how the bulbul nest looks like. It's a very compact kind of cup-shaped nest, and I just like how it is. I just like uh, how well made, how tight, how it feels like the nest is so tiny and it cannot accommodate the bird, but it does. It accommodates the bird when it's incubating the eggs and also the chicks that come out of it. So I find it very fascinating. Like one of the birds that I see around nesting in Bangalore around our office has been the bulbul. So it's something that I really um, find very amazing to look at. What could this bird be? Any guesses?
Bee eater.
Bee eater.
Yes, it is. It is a bee eater. And does anyone is oh wow, Chandana is showing us a bird nest. What bird nest is this? Is it a bulbul? No.
I think it is of bulbul.
Yeah, it does quite look like a bulbul nest.
So
So nice.
I just went out to get it so that I can show you.
Thanks for showing it to us. So there is one peculiar um, behavior of a bee eater. Do you want to, does anyone know, or any behavior of a bee eater that you know of?
Yeah,
Mud party.
So I heard two people speaking, maybe who, but I couldn't figure out who was speaking. Please go
right.
ahead.
Yeah,
Yes, Asif.
yeah. Like beaters usually come back to the same perch.
Yeah, bee eaters often do come back to the same perch. And
Yeah.
any other observations, any other behavior that anyone else knows about a bee eater? I'll give you a hint where I'm trying to lead you to.
Yeah, before
It
mating
is a
ritual,
I couldn't hear. Someone was speaking.
so the one the male bee eater usually capture insect and give it to the female eater before mating.
Give it,
What I observed.
sorry, give it to Ashok Kumar. Your voice is breaking a little. Give it to who? Or else you can type it in the chat.
They sit together very
Yes,
close.
they do hurdle together and sit like I had seen this on photo, which almost made them look like during, especially during cold uh, days or when the surrounding temperature is very cold, they huddle up together and sit very close to each other. And there was one image that I had seen which made them look like a caterpillar, like a big caterpillar, huge caterpillar. And their beaks looked like the caterpillar spines and things. So it was quite interesting photo to see. Okay, so the male bee eaters feed females with insects and flies. Yes, they do have this what's called as nuptial gifts. So as a courtship behavior, they give kind of bring insects or bring some kind of a food for the males do that to impress the females. And the bee eaters toss their prey before eating them. Yes, often you will see bee eaters do that. We do it with peanuts, right? We toss the peanuts and try to catch them. That's how bee eaters also eat. You'll see them perching on a branch, going in flight, catching some insect in flight, and often coming back to the same perch. And then you'll see them also toss that insect and eat. So it's quite an interesting bird and interesting behavior. So you can always do. And when we talk about how versatile the games are, this Pictobird is already a variation of a game that we know of, a mainstream game like Pictionary. But then, even within this, there is an interesting way where you can adapt it. So you do birds, but you can also do trees. You can do picto trees. Shruti, the next slide. Yeah. Do you want to guess what tree this is?
Jackfruit.
Hmm. It is jackfruit. So the next. So the jackfruit, the part of the jackfruit that we eat, it's amazing. There's so many. It's actually that one section is actually one fruit. And the entire green thing that we see is just like a capsule holding. There is hundreds of fruits of that jackfruit. It's just that we would say that, oh, that's a jackfruit fruit. But actual fruits are the ones that we eat, the yellowish golden parts that we eat on the inside. Those are the single fruit of the tree. So some bringing out, like, games can be a real fun way of bringing out interesting facts. What could this one be? It's usually a crowd favorite. It is a very common tree as well.
Mango.
Mango, yes, it is. So yeah, so the popular Alfonso that we talk about is kind of something that we do have quite a lot of native variants, but the crowd popular Alfonso is actually not an Indian variant. It's come down from Portugal, and the Portuguese invaders had got it, and it has stayed. So yeah, guess the next tree. This should
Sandalwood.
be easy.
Sandalwood.
Sandalwood. Yes, it is sandalwood. Have you seen a sandalwood flower?
Yeah.
Yeah, look at this. It's tiny, vibrant red, maroon color flowers. I just love the shade of red so there's another plant that has a similar colored, but I think 10 or 100 times the size of this flower. It's the African sausage tree, which has like huge flowers and huge fruits as well. They also have very similar colored flowers, and I really, it's something that we know sandalwood. We know uh, the way that sandalwood bark or something might look like, but flowers is not something that we see very often. So this can be your chance to introduce the lesser known aspects of a certain bird or a certain tree or any other theme that you're making these Pictionaries for. So this is one example of um, adapting the existing games. There is, like, do you know 20 questions? Have you played 20 questions? Generally, we would play it with movies or movie stars or people, famous people. So that in this game, what one does is they think of, like, there's one person, the Denner, who thinks about a bird name, a bird, but they don't tell everyone else. You can play it in teams where, like, we play charades. You can play something like this in teams as well, or you can have like a big group trying to guess that one bird. like a collaborative thing. So in that game, what you have to do is the audience or the teammates are allowed to ask you 20 questions. Ask the dinner 20 questions. These questions are in a way that can only have a yes or no answer. You can't be like, oh, whether the bird lives in on trees or in water. That cannot be the question. The question can be, oh, do you see the bird in water always? Or do you see the bird often around water? The only questions can be such that they can have a yes or no answer. So yeah, like you can see some options in here. Where does it live near water? The answer is no. Does it eat fruits or sip nectar? No. Is it active at night? Yes, because the bird in question is an owl. So you just within 20 questions, you have to try and guess the bird. Okay. And there are numerous other games that we can adapt, like charadas. There's someone said word searches. There are crosswords. There is atlas, like we were talking about. So there are the way it just, I think us trying to use our imagination and trying to tap into how creatively we can adapt a certain game to fit our needs, to fit uh, what we need to kind of convey in that particular session with children while we are making them just enjoy and play. See the next one, please. And there are games that don't need materials at all. Like, you don't need it to be a bingo sheet. You don't need to have slides or have anything where you can show them the visuals to guess. Like for Pictionary, there are games where you can just do it without just being present. Like one of my favorite games is this, it's like a movement based game where it's called the Heron and Snipe. It's like kind of trying to mimic a heron and a snipe, the way they walk. So if the instructor says snipe, everyone crouches and walks. If they say heron, everyone stands straight and walk. So it's like trying to mimic their pace, trying to mimic the stance that they walk in. And it's like you try switching, like you continuously try to snipe, heron, snipe, heron, snipe, snipe, snipe. And in a way where you confuse the players, and then the whoever does it wrong is eliminated, and whoever stands till the end and follows the instruction wins the game. And there you also learning about how the bird, some bit of the bird behavior, some bit of their characteristic, but also there's some energy that's brought into the entire system of your engagement, where there's movement, there's some probably some laughter, there's some, just imagine having playing this game. And a lot of these games, similar games have been you have been are available for you to refer to in this handbook. There is a digital copy as well, and I'll share through an email later for you to. You can refer to them as well. Take inspirations, make modifications if you feel like. Just the ultimate, I think, the goal is to get what we want is kids to enjoy, feel connected to nature, and uh, learn at the end of it. And like the Heron and Snipe is a kind of a movement game, there are certain games that you might just want to do as energizers. They might not particularly have a learning outcome, but something that just helps you maintain the momentum of your session. Think of it like if you're doing a workshop or if you're doing a lecture. If you keep, there would we would when you're doing talks or lectures around birds or any other thing, we would want it to be interactive, but it is the nature of those engagements is that the speaker talks more than the audience. So there is a dip in energy. How do you maintain that energy? You can do it by using such games where it's just getting them to move around, getting them to engage. So let's, if you can, again, people who can switch on their videos, it would be nice to do that. Let's do a movement game. We are 1 hour into this session, half an hour more to go. So let's, before that, get energized for the next bit of it. Okay. So this is one of my favorite games to play, especially in an online setting, given that you can see people, you can get them to do stuff, and you get up from your chairs. So it's called as Act Like a. So I will give a prompt, and everyone has to, through their imagination, through the way that they would imagine that certain thing to behave or act, you have to do some action. Like if I say act like a river, some people might do like this, some people might do like this. So you can choose your action. It doesn't have to be an universal action, but you have to just do some movement. But we would want, if you can, we would want you to be off your chairs and do it. So that there's some bit of movement, there's some bit of change in the way that we are engaging. Okay. So if I have to say, act like a falling leaf. Act like a falling leaf. Yay. Yes, so we have some different actions. So nice. Shruti, do you want to give no worries, Ashok. You can just, even though your video is not on, you can just try and play along with us. Shruti, do you want to give a next prompt?
Act like the wind.
Ooh.
I like how well Chaitanya moved.
Yes, that's lovely. So, anyone else wants to give a prompt? We can do one more prompt.
Act like a lake.
Act like a lake. Okay. Yeah, some really nice. Okay, that's lovely. So, everyone's energized enough for the next bit of it. Oh, act like a woodpecker. That's an interesting one. How do it? Okay. So see, no materials needed. Not really a learning outcome that might not a very strong learning outcome, but the outcome that we need out of it is just to feel energized, which I think we are. So to the next bit. So there is another resource that gives you a lot of different examples of movement games. Again, I'll share it with you. This is by Nature Classrooms, a group that works with EVS curriculum and trying to bring the linkages of nature with the EVS curriculum. So they have this resource, and I'll share the link with you as well. The next slide, please. Then there are a lot of board games and card games that are available in market. You would have to use them to try and having to play those games. You'll need those physical copies of these games. There's this game called as Wilderness, which is like a biodiversity based card game. There are the next slide. There's every one of us, I think, at some point in our childhood have played snakes and ladders. There's this one group which is reimagine snakes and ladders with just snakes and snakes. But the ladders are the non-venomous snakes, while the snakes are the venomous snakes. So just reimagining the like it had an element of nature, but now it's become completely like even the ladder part has just gone. They have replaced it with some other reimagined it. And there are a lot of other games, and we'll share these card games as well, not bird themed but nature themed. uh I think in my childhood there were the Pokemon cards, and these trump cards were a very big thing. I know how much of it is right now, like kids do enjoy it, but there are similar kind of cards that are available. And then there are these flashcards that Early Bird has created. There are 40 cards. One side is a photo, the other side is a um, information, and there's you can actually through these sections play a lot of different games. We, in our instructional video, have mentioned 5 games, 5 to 6 games at max. But we now have so many of our educators come back and tell us, ki, hey, I modified this game. I used your flashcards to play a different game. They've come up with new games, new ideas on how one can use these materials. One of my favorite ways in which someone's used these flashcards is they have cut the flashcards in between, and they basically uh, join two random cards together, like a head of some bird and a tail and the body of some other. And that's like an icebreaker. You have to try and find the perfect match. So you basically get the 2 cards, and you have to try and match at least one side of it with someone in the group. And that's kind of, then you meet them, you interact with them. So it's kind of a way of an icebreaker activity that they have done. Or someone's done this where they have used the flashcards, used the information on what's given, but modified in a way that it can be an actionable prompt. So for one of their interactions, it was like a parent-kid duo that were part of their nature walk. And for an icebreaker, they thought of doing is they took certain behaviors of certain creatures, stuck post-its behind it with those notes. Like imagine the woodpecker flashcard had a prompt that says peck on the tree these many times per second, somewhat 100 times a second or 500 times a second, something that matches the pecking speed of the woodpecker. And the grebe one said, pick up your chick on your back and swim around. So kind of picking on some peculiar behaviors that these birds had, sticking it on a post-it behind these flashcards, and then the parent kid duo had to randomly pick the one flashcard and enact what's given. Sorry. Yeah. So they had to enact it. So again, there is movement, there is learning, and there is fun. And there's some bit of a bonding between the parent and the child as well. So if it because they realized that they couldn't do the typical, like a favorite bird with a kid that's like 4 or 5 year old, they might not have favorite birds, they might not have a favorite animal, they might not be comfortable enacting something by themselves. But if their parent is involved, maybe they might do something, they might follow some instructions on some imitation. So that's when they decided to modify some of these activities in a way where they can make everyone feel involved and have fun as well. But one of the games that is with this that you can definitely play is a memory game. You know a memory game? Yeah. So in memory game, what we do is usually there are these designs or icons that you need to match. They are all uh, um, facing downwards, and you have to kind of open them and try and see where the match is. And if you get something wrong, you have to basically remember what icon did you open under which tile, and try and kind of try and finding the perfect matches in as many matches as you can. So kind of from the similar kind of idea with flashcards. Shruti, I think if you can go to the previous slide on the previous one. Yeah. If you see, the one side of the flashcard is a bird photo. That side is the one that there is a tutorial on a YouTube which will show you how you play the memory game, but I'll just quickly tell you how it is. The bird photo side is the side that faces up, but on the lower side, you see there are two icons. There is a blue and a green icon. The blue icon basically tells you where the bird lives, and the green one tells you what the bird eats, the diet and the habitat. So basically, the idea is when you pick two cards, either the habitat or the food should match for the two cards that you have picked. Or there can be a variant where you just say ki when you're picking two cards, their habitat has to match. Or when you're picking two cards, their food has to match. Or there can be a variant where it can be either or. And you just have to, it can be played in teams, it can be played as individuals. Whoever gets the match gets to keep that pair, keep the matched pair with them. Whoever ends up with the maximum number of pairs wins. So, and I think we can give eventually when they start playing, they'll start picking on, they'll definitely will have to remember if someone's picked something wrong, it's like a bonus for the next player to kind of use that to their advantage, like we do in memory game as well. But also the photos can be a way of giving more idea on what the bird is eating or where it's living, because the beak how the beak of a bird is gives a lot of information about what it eats, and how the feet of a bird how their feet are will give a lot of information about how they or where they live or what kind of a habitat that they prefer. Yeah. So that can be kind of a starter to kind of introducing them to different beaks, to different feet, different habitats, different food. So based on what you want to talk to them about, you can focus your discussions around this game to that. Whether if you want to talk about bird habitats, whether you want to talk about their uh, food habits or their beaks, it's just something that you can uh, design for, or kind of your structure it in a way where it helps you then further in your session engagement. Kind of it can be structured and played in a way that you want to what you want to convey. So there's a digital version of it that's available as well. I would have want to play that, but it's just a little tricky to play it in a group like this where it's difficult to tell which cards you want to flip. So, but we'll share the link and you can try out the digital version of this game as well. But also, if you have the flashcards, or if you would like to get the flashcards, you can get them and try playing these games and the other multiple games that can be played with these cards. And always, like I was saying earlier, there are games that are meant to be games, but then there are situations where you can just gamify it, like we did for the introduction. It wasn't necessarily a game, but we gamified it in a certain way. We made it not it wasn't competitive kind of a game, but it was just a little unusual than not unusual but different than our just the introductions of telling our name, what we do, and where we are from. So that's something, trying to gamify our usual activities or usual things. So a lecture or a talk can be boring, can be, but if you make it interactive, if you gamify it, you can actually bring out a lot of, it can leave a lot of impact. So, for example, if you want to talk about bird calls, yeah. If your talk is about bird calls, birds and bird calls, you can just, instead of telling ki, okay, this is this bird, this is how it calls, this is this bird, this is how it calls, instead, you talk about that bird, you make them listen to that call, and you can make it into a quiz where you play the call again and then tell them to pick from the three options that you have given. It can be a quiz where it is also now tapping into whether they were attentive to remember the bird calls. But also, this is a bit of identification and kind of remembering things. There can be also a way where you can, instead of it doesn't matter what bird call it is, like which bird is calling, but just to understand bird call, just to kind of understand and assimilate the idea that birds call differently. There are different birds that call differently. And how are they different? So making them describe the calls that they're hearing. Say you are, I'll give you an example. Let's go to the next slide and we can. So I will play a bird call. You have to write down and tell us, how does that call sound to you? Is it harsh? Is it sweet? Is it fast? Is it slow? Is it trill? Like, is it like very disturbing to your ear, or what? What do you like? Just describe the call in a way that you would, just after listening to it, whatever thoughts come to you. Shruti, can you please play the call? If you're already playing it, we cannot hear it. Yes. How would you describe this call? We don't want which bird is calling, which is very obvious given the slide, but we don't want the name of the bird, but what do you hear? Would you describe this call?
So in movies, they generally use these sound.
Yes, in
Uh,
deserted places and theme, like kind of to create suspense.
yeah.
Okay, that's where how you're associating the call. Lovely. But any like basically the notes of the call. Is there someone who would want to describe that? Now we are playing it again in case you would like to hear.
It has very sharp frequency.
Yeah, it is very sharp. It is fast, it is sharp, and often high pitched trill. Yes, it is an high pitched trill. So trills are sounds which feel like they're vibrating. So it's something that when we are doing this activity with a group of kids, they are like, oh, it sounds like someone's talking and then they have vibrating. So that's the sound, kind of the sound that it sounds like. Someone started talking normally, but then had been vibrated, kind of in that way, and that's how it sounds. Any other way where any other association, does it remind you of something? Does this call, how it sounds, remind you of something else? Totally, something totally different, but it reminds you of that. Does it remind you of a horse neighing, like a horse making sound?
Yes.
Some people agree, some people don't, but I do find it that it does sound like it to some extent. Yeah. So kind of asking questions instead, either if the group is a little older, the quiz format works. But for a slightly younger group, maybe say 8 to 10 years old or something, who may or may not find quizzes interesting. Nowadays, kids do find that interesting, but if it just feels like an exam, then it's just demotivating in a sense where, okay, another exam, something that should have been fun is now feels like an exam. So not then, if in that case, something like this where you get them to describe, get them to make associations of what they are listening and what they are doing. It's kind of fun, but also learning. So it's kind of just helping you. Then here you don't have to talk. You're making them think, you're making them question, you're tapping into their inquisitiveness to kind of take care of the topics that you need to. So you eventually just have to be like, okay, you just have to explain it a little more. It's them who's doing the talking. It's them who is taking care of what content is going in by you guiding them to arrive at it. So that way, the session doesn't feel like, oh, there's a speaker and there are listeners, but it just feels like a group learning experience. Next one. Or in situations where you're doing a nature walk, and in that as well, you can make observation into a game where you can get them to tell you what they're observing in a certain bird, what are the peculiar things that they are seeing, but also in a way where you can, based on a lot of our regional names or a lot of our names do have some relation to how the bird looks or what the bird does. Or like the coppersmith barbet, there is a call association there with why it's called a certain way. A spot-billed duck has the spots that on the beak that is giving it its name. So getting them to first observe things and then be like, okay, you saw this character, right? This is why it is called this. So you're not directly giving them names, but giving them an association for that name. So it just doesn't stay like a 2D name, but they have a lot more dimensions to that to look at. And then there are regional names. So there are like interesting regional names, or tell me, or you can get the kids to name the bird that they're seeing. You don't give them the actual name of the bird, but you tell them you name it. What if I had to tell you, if you didn't know this was a spot-billed duck, what is the name that you would give it? Think out of the box. Think like a child. Think as imaginatively as you can.
In Marathi, it is called Haldi Kunku.
In
As
Marathi, it is called Haldi Kumkum. Yes.
red and there.
Yes, for the red and the yellow spots. But I want you to give it your own name.
Turtle top duck.
Yellow top duck.
Turtle top duck.
Turtle top duck. Wow. I'm impressed because one of my favorite names that a kid is given it is quite similar to what you've said. There is some names in the, okay, yellow beak, white tail duck. Lovely. Any more names? Any more creativity? Tricolored beak duck. Lovely. So this one of my favorite names that a kid is given this bird is a cheetah bird. I was amazed. I was amazed. They just saw those spots and freckles kind of things near its belly, neck, and the belly. And they're like, oh, that reminds me of cheetah. It's a cheetah bird. I just love that name. And like others said that it is also called as Haldi Kumkum in Marathi and a variation, similar variations in a lot of other Indian languages as well. Shruti, next. Next. Can anyone beat this name for ibis? It's a kid called it a chopstick. We saw a ibis foraging. It was trying to use its beak to look for worms and insects near a wetland, and they're like, "Oh, I use my chopsticks this way. I'm calling it a chopstick bird." So, can anyone beat this creativity? I really like challenging adults to create names that against what a kid has. It's just fun because the creativity that kids bring in. As adults, I think we find it really difficult to look beyond certain facts or certain obvious things. Uh, any names that you can think of for this? Shruti? Forceps tongs. Okay, nice. Kind of picking up on the similar uh, field. Okay, so yeah, so you can always. Oh, chocolate rainbow bird. I like that. I do like that. That's actually it kind of in a way where I really enjoy getting kids to do this activity, kind of gamifying the observations because they really then it want to look at the bird and find something really peculiar about it so that no two birds will end up having the same name. Yeah, we had a kid call the swamp hen, the purple swamp hen, neon bird. And he just went around saying neon, 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 neon. And it was so much fun. He just like in a way we're counting the swamp hens. See, like everywhere there is neon. Everywhere there's a neon bird. Because that wetland had quite a few of swamp hens. So it's just fun to having them create associations, bring in creativity, bring in their imaginations, and also kind of focusing on observations. So you can always gamify something that might not sound like a game, but it's just fun if you gamify it and you have an outcome that you would want where they are observing it. If you just tell them, look at this bird, they would be a lot more distracted. But now if you're like, you have to come up with a name that seems more interesting, that seems more engaging, and they would actually end up observing the bird. So you get what you want, and they are getting the fun and the learning. So yeah, next. Can you click next again? There's one. So often I think what happens is in a way that we think of game and play, it feels like a break. It feels like, okay, I want to go play. Feels like a break from what we are doing, especially for children. I want to go play because I'm done with my homework or I'm bored of my homework and I'll go play. But we want to kind of make play and game in a way that it is not a break, but just a learning opportunity. Right? Does everyone agree to that? Yeah. So let's start playing. Let's enjoy games and play ourselves and then take that to children. Take that in a way where they also learn. So I would like to ask you, is there a particular game that we talked about today or you know of but you've not had a chance to try with children? Something that you would want to go now, you feel motivated enough now after this session to go and play. to go get children play this particular game or this particular activity? Would you like to quickly tell that?
I had actually played that game with my daughter last year, the habitat and uh, food and habitat identifying game. So
Yeah.
it was wonderful.
So one thing that I think is a key takeaway for me from all of this is the curiosity and the sense of discovery or questioning should remain even while we are trying to engage in any form, not just games, in any form. That is something that should be like the foundation, the amazement, appreciation, curiosity should like be the basis of our engagements with children, because that's what keeps them kind of hooked to a certain topic. So I really hope all of you do go ahead and try out some games, try out new games apart from what we have mentioned as well. And we look forward to receiving, if you happen to play games, send us photos, send us your experience. It's always fulfilling and exciting to receive this after a workshop or a session like this. To hear about your experiences and your learnings from all of that. So in these sessions, we are actually planning towards a month-long nationwide celebration for birds, for young people, young kids, youth of sorts. And the idea is that given that there is Salim Ali's birthday and Children's Day, we thought why just stick to 2 days for celebrating children and birds. Let's do it for a month. And uh, Early Bird, WWF, and a lot of other organizations have come together to kind of do events, do interactions with kids. And we hope that if you feel motivated enough after this session and have learned a few tips about uh, different games that you can play, we hope that you go ahead and do that and participate in this month-long celebration as well. We have more sessions around like around engaging with children coming up in the following week. There's one on Thursday that will talk about the tips and tricks about bird engagements, indoor and outdoors. So we hope that I'll see some more familiar faces there. We'll see some people there as well. And later also in November, doing some events, doing some interactions with kids. Will really be nice. And after this, we'll share through email. We'll share different links, different digital resources that we mentioned, and also Shruti has shared um, the link to the Young Birders website. You can check it out. There are some um, events that are already being posted. You can participate in that, or you can host an event of your own. I'll also share a feedback form through that email that you will receive after the session, and hope you all enjoyed and learned a lot while playing some games yourself. Hope to see you all again.
Thank you,
Thank you. Thank you for joining.
Thank you. It was a really nice session. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Shruti, for helping me with the